So, hello everyone, and what I want to talk about tonight is Treasury bills. Now, Treasury bills are short-term government securities, and there's a couple that 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, and a year. That basically they're considered money market instruments. Now, you'll notice the title of this slide is Financial Futures and Options, but we're not going to talk about that. We're going to just talk about the cash market. Assuming you just went into the bank and decided and asked them that you could buy a treasury bill. Now, treasury bills don't pay interest, okay? And we'll see that in the slides. All right, so here's the cash market in blue, okay? So here's the cash market, and we're going to talk about two different ways that the interest rate is calculated. There's a discount yield and investment yield, and we'll discuss both of those. And we're going to ignore the red fonts. We're going to ignore this, okay? All right, so the cash market, we're going to talk about T-bill mathematics for the cash market. Okay, again, they're a money market instrument. Okay, so what are treasuries? Governments spend more money in running their countries than they receive in revenue, right, from taxes. And remember, I posted a thing about the debt, the national debt, earlier. And basically, to finance these deficits that we talked about, the debt and the deficits, governments sell debt instruments called treasury securities, right? And they also sell bonds. So this is one way that they raise money. Again, now, T-bills don't pay interest. You buy them at a very deep, cheap discount, and then you get the face value when they mature. So this treasury bill is known as a discount instrument. And treasury bills pay no periodic interest coupons, as I said, and they're called zero coupon bonds. You may have heard that term before because there's no coupons basically associated with them. All right, so the buyer receives the face value at maturity, okay? And basically, you get them at a deep discount, and they're considered money market instruments, okay? So here's what I was talking about. There's like 3 months here, 91 days is approximately 3 months, 6 months, 52 weeks, right? All right, so the difference, again, when you buy it at a deep discount, and the difference between what you pay and what you get when it matures is your return, okay? And again, there's two ways of calculating the return. All right, now, a long time ago, maybe even before you were born, the 1-year T-bill was discontinued, and I will give you more details on why that happened. We actually ran a surplus under President Bill Clinton for a couple of years. So we had this surplus, so they figured, well, we don't have to, borrow money anymore. Well, that didn't last long. 2001 happened, we had wars and all those types of things happened, and we went right back to it. So I'll kind of skip over these slides here, okay? But just suffice it to say, there was one golden period in time around here, 2001, where we basically didn't have to issue treasury bills. And the treasury bill is used basically as the benchmark to get the risk-free rate, and also for student loans and variable rate loans. All right, so again, I'll just skip over the fact that they've been discontinued. You can read this. I'll post these slides on the Blackboard. Actually, they should be up there already. You can read these on your own. So here's discontinuation of the 1-year T-bill way back then. All right, so the interest earned on treasury securities is exempt from state and local taxes. And since T-bills are free of default risk, right, because they're guaranteed by the government, they're going to have much lower yield. There's no risk because you're going to get your money back in any case. So that's called a risk-free rate of return. All right, so I want to look at a little bit about these treasury bills. How do they calculate the rate of return or the yield on these things, okay? And as I said, for the 3 and 6 month T-bills, there's two methods they use. It's called the discount yield method and the investment yield method, okay? So we'll look at the discount yield method, and then when I do part 2 of these slides, I'll go through the investment yield method, okay? So let's do the discount yield method first. And what this basically does is it takes into account the return as a percentage of the face value of the T-bill rather than its purchase price. And this will basically understate the yield because they're taking the using the face value. And you'll see why in a minute. So here's the equation for getting your yield using the discount yield method. And let me just explain to you what this is. dy is discount yield. FV is face value. PP is purchase price. Again, and you divide that by the face value. And they assume a 360-day year because that's the convention that was used over the years. And you divide that by the number of days in the T-bill, okay, whether it's 91 or 182, okay? All right, so that's also, sometimes you'll see the equation written slightly different, but when you comes right down to it, it's the same thing, okay? If you do the math, you'll see it'll be the same thing. Because here they've normalized the bond prices to a value of 100, and also they convert the yield from decimal to percent. Okay. But in either case, the answers will always be the same. So it's written in two different ways for the discount yield. Okay. So here's an example. What is the discount yield for a 182-day T-bill? 6 months, right? Roughly. Auctioned at an average price. So this is what you pay, right? $9,659.30. And this is what you get back when it matures. You get the face value. So what is your return? And it's a 6.739%. And if you plug those numbers into the equation, you'll see that to be true. There's also an effective annual yield for T-bills. So if you insert the discount yield equation into the effective annual yield equation, it gives you an effective annual yield equation of this right here. So basically, this is the face value over the purchase price, right? And N is the number of compounding periods. Okay. So you can actually come up with an effective annual yield. So you're basically annualizing what that return is on that bond. So this is what you're going to basically get for this is an annualized return, right? This is your annualized return, and this is the effective annualized return, taking into account compounding, right? Interest on interest. All right, so again, I'll stop right here and I'll pick up on part 2, how to get the investment yield method.